Welcome back to the PM Show Weekend Edition on CRN Digital Talk Radio. I'm Michael Horn. Robert Conrad, ladies and gentlemen, a little under the weather, could not make the call for the show today. Should be back with you next week, and we wish him all the best in a speedy recovery. If you want to give us a call, I should mention the phone number, 800-336-2225, toll free, 800-336-2225. And today on the show, we're very honored to have with us Roger E. Mosley. Many years, still acting, still doing great things. You saw him on Magnum P.I. And I got to hear about this just before the break. You mentioned you worked with the great Duke, John Wayne. What was that all about? How'd you get that role?
I get that role? I auditioned for it.
What was the movie? Remember the movie?
I got it. McHugh. Yeah, the movie was McHugh. You're making me trip through my head.
I'm tripping through your head because you've done a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah. I've had a great career.
You have had a great career.
I worked with some of the best in the business.
So McHugh, so what was that like? What was working with the Duke like?
It was very good. He and I got along very, very well. I'm very Afrocentric in my approach, and Duke had a reputation for being very European-centric in his approach. And so there was a little worry about how he and I were going to get along. We got along great because he didn't have anything I wanted, and I didn't have anything he wanted. And the thing that he liked about me, once again, was my crowning feat, I guess, I wasn't always underfoot. You know, some people, they get on the set.
You're on time, you showed up, you just did your thing.
Yeah, and I wasn't always, you know, some people, they work with a big star and they want to be acknowledged by that person.
Yeah.
So they're always there. They're almost like, can I get you anything? Do you remember working with someone? They're trying to endear themselves, strike up a conversation, make themselves friends. And a lot of times these people in that position already have all their friends, so on and so forth. Their biggest problem with them was they couldn't figure out where I was half the time because they knew I was on the set.
They knew you were there, but they didn't know exactly where.
Right, and it was shot in Seattle, Washington. So Seattle, Washington isn't just necessarily a hotbed of African-American activity. So they were really curious as to where I was going because I seemed to be having a good time partying and had my own group of people that I was hanging around with. I found a black theater group in Seattle, Washington, and I proceeded to have a ball. I turned them on. I turned the crew on to the club because they wanted to hear some good music. Funny thing about crews are pretty hip.
Yeah.
Because they travel and do a little bit of everything. I had found the best jazz club with some of the best food in Seattle. They all showed up there. It was just a great atmosphere. It was the longest, even after his death, I would still get holiday gifts and birthday gifts from John Wayne.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, he really enjoyed
acknowledged you, and that's the acknowledgement I think that carries on beyond it. Now, how do you find the good clubs when you're in like a place like Seattle? Do you ask people, or how'd you figure out? I mean, you're like a genius. You found the best club with the best food.
You never would guess what I do when I go to
that's what I want to hear.
Get on a bus in front of your hotel. It's the cheapest tour.
Right.
And ride a bus in one direction.
Just ride it.
Just ride the bus in one direction and get back on the bus on your way back and go to the middle. Now you know where the middle point is.
Right.
Then get at the middle point, the biggest intersection you can, and then ride a bus as far as you can in the other direction. And then ride the bus back as far as you can. We'll say go as far east as you can, then come back east going west and go as far west as you can. This will all take you about 2.5, maybe 3 hours.
Right.
And if you stop off and have lunch, you'll have a ball.
And you'll tour of the town.
Everything you need to see in the town. And you find your start point that looks good, and you go there, and everybody else will tell you where everything else is.
So you just ask people, and they'll say, hey, this is pretty good food here, whatever.
Plus, you'll have a good feeling of the city.
That's pretty cool. I've never heard that before in my life, and that makes a lot of sense. That's really good. Roger E. Mosley telling you the stories here. All right, let's go to the phones. We've got Bob there calling from Santa Monica. Bob, you're on with Roger E. Mosley. He's filling in for Robert Conrad today on CRN.
I want to wish Robert Conrad a quick recovery, and I can't wait to hear him next week on the show.
All right, thanks. Thank you so much.
I want to talk to Roger Mosley.
Go ahead.
I'm a big fan of black pioneers, especially in television and film. I was wondering if you ever worked with George Sanford Brown.
Yes, George Sanford Brown. You remember the show he had called, he was a police officer.
Oh yeah, what was it?
Rookies. That was it. Rookies. Yeah. And they had this famous scene in a movie called The Commissioners, where a good actor friend of mine named Tony King played a standoff scene in The Commissioner, in the elevator, where they almost recreated a similar scene for me and George Sanford Brown, where we got locked in this elevator with guns pointed at each other, and we played that scene for the whole show. We were in that elevator simulating. Do you remember that show? Remember that scene? Well, if you ever get a chance to watch the show, it was just he and I really loved that role.
Locked in the room.
Locked in the elevator. Yeah. My gun was on him. His gun was on me.
That was it for the show?
Well, and then also them trying to get us out of there without one of us killing the other. And we forged a friendship being in that elevator for a whole week that lasted all the way to this day.
Wow.
Well, Roger, I just want to say I think you're a pioneer just like George Sanford Brown, but I consider you part of a different wave of pioneers.
Yeah, I gotta give a lot of props to George. He's another one. He was married to
Tyne
Daly, but yet and still she couldn't play his girlfriend on the show Rookies.
Because of just the
that's how far we've come.
Regards
to the ratio. Everybody knew was married to her, but God forbid she come on the show and play his girlfriend.
Wow.
God bless you, George. God bless you, Roger.
Okay, thank you.
All right, there goes Bob from Santa Monica. Opens up a line for us at 800-336-2225. 800-336-2225. Boy, the show is flying by here today. If you got any questions for Roger E. Mosley, get them in here quick. All right, so we got George Sanford Brown. We got John Wayne. This is a storied career. I got to get your list of credits going on. Gosh.
We haven't got to Burt Reynolds and Chris Christopherson.
We're going to get to them next. Can we do that?
I want to stick on my political light.
And your political light is going to come on, too. We'll do that as well. So we got Burt and Chris coming up. Plus, I want to talk to you about Leadbelly, too. That was another great one. We got more Leadbelly music. We got to get a little something going on here today. Roger E. Mosley is in for Robert Conrad. Bob is a little under the weather today. It's the PM show. Don't forget, check everything out on the website at crntalk.com. Download our cell phone app, CRN Digital Talk. It's absolutely free for your cell phone, whether it's an iPhone or a Droid. Go to CRN Digital Talk, search the App Store, and you can download it for free.